last night after the game. He almost woke up the whole neighborhood. I was like, man,
What?
calm your ass down. He
Yeah,
almost woke
what?
up the entire neighborhood. But yeah,
Right.
Hey,
man,
man.
it was an exciting game, man. And true story, me and Chris were texting during the game last night. And boy, it did not look good because I said it was 20% chance that we win that game. Because I mean the crazy calls that we made down the stretch. But we got into that 2 minute offense, as you can tell, they've been pretty much studying that 2 minute offense because it just like that, it was hidden. So he made every throw. Receivers running their proper routes.
Mhm.
And shot Darnell Mooney, man. He had a hell of a game last night.
Yeah, man. Definitely
So
got to shout those guys out, man.
Yes.
yeah, so
Yes.
man, this was a much needed win, and I said that before the game. This gives us momentum going to the next game. So we'll see how it turns out. But Sunday night, I think the Falcons gonna be locked and loaded and ready.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we'll talk a little bit about Kirk Chainz here, man. Rightfully Kirk Chainz, man, because he tapped into that fourth quarter, into that Kirk Chainz mentality, man. Was good for the first three quarters. A lot of people were saying, and they're right to say so. He looked timid at times and stuff like that. Of course, playing that heavy Philadelphia front four, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and company. But Matthew Bergeron and Chris Lindstrom really earned some money yesterday because they had an incredible game in the trenches, kind of keeping those guys at bay. But back to Kirk Cousins, man. Kirk Cousins, looked good for the first three quarters. And then all of a sudden, something switched, man. That fourth quarter, man, he was money, man. And how much of that is Zach Robinson, fellas? I'll ask you guys, man. How much do you have to how much on that falls on Zach Robinson just saying, you know what? The hell with it. You play good. It's time to be great. Opening up that playbook. We saw everybody get involved. Smitty, you mentioned Darnell Mooney. Ray McLeod was a factor. Hell, even Kyle Pitts was a factor in that last minute drive. But good to see the ball in the playmaker's hands, something that we struggled to do week one versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Zach Robinson opening up this offensive playbook, definitely it working in our behalf. But Brycey, man, what do you have to say about that, man? Would you assess Kirk, the entire game, let's just say first three quarters leading into that fourth quarter?
I think what you saw last night was Kurt was still working off some rust. I think that's something that I've always said, because we have expectations, we become very impatient. And so if he's not lighting it up, we just we'll start Penix, right?
Yeah,
but
fact.
I mean, even if you don't play him, I mean, eventually he still has to go out there and knock off rust at some point.
Yeah, at some point.
So
Right.
you're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? It's not gonna happen right away. And I think as you saw the game go on, you kind of saw Kirk get better each quarter. He missed some reads, he missed some throws early in the first half, a couple red zone possessions, and listen, he had Ray deep on a route that he could have maybe saw, or, like I said, red zone had a couple of guys open. But I think, especially after that Mooney touchdown, I think that's when it really kind of really turned on for him. He seemed more confident, seemed to go back to the Kirk he was before being hurt. And so I think what you saw was just a guy who was getting more comfortable as the game went on. And then you saw when it was time, that's when he played his best. Sometimes the 2-minute offense is the easiest offense for guys to run because there's not as much thinking. It's just get it to the wide open guy. We know what we need to do and just make the play. Or sometimes when you're in game, you're trying to be like, all right, so we want to do this exactly and make sure we establish this and make sure this happens. 2-minute offense, you know what your goal is. And that's why if you think about the Pittsburgh game, the only touchdown we had was in the 2-minute offense. 4-2-minute offense. This week, end of the game, another touchdown. So clearly that part of the team and that part of what they do works. I mean, I think Mooney mentioned it after the game. He said we haven't really practiced 2-minute offense in practice outside of training camp.
Yeah.
Because we're pretty confident in what you saw. We've seen it in the last two games. So I think Zach caught a much better game as well this week.
Yeah.
Play action behind the center. Just more things that Kurt's comfortable with. And I think, like I said, the fact that there were plays that we can look at and say, oh, Kurt saw this guy or this happened. If people are getting open, that means he must be calling good plays. So I think, he's still learning as a first-time offensive coordinator, still developing and getting better at just learning how to use all of his weapons. Because this isn't going to be I'm just going to force feed guys type of offense. You saw it last night. Mooney's going to get involved. Ray's going to get involved. London's going to get involved. Pitts is going to get involved. Tyler Algier and Bijan are getting involved. So I think overall, I think you saw all that throughout the game, which led to the end of the game, which Kirk played some of his best football. And you're very confident if Kirk can maintain this makes you feel much better about this offense moving forward, because this offense really has the potential to be a high scoring offense if they can stay on the same page.
I'm telling you, bro. Hey, I'm gonna tell you another thing too, man. I think what it is for Kurt as well, something that I noticed, when he got hit, took the sack, kind of had to try to take off a little bit. I think he was starting to gain more and more confidence in his legs, in his limbs, you know what I'm saying, gaining more confidence, because just like Bryce said, in the beginning, he kind of missed some throws especially as far as ball placement. That's why Quinyon Mitchell almost got a pick at the first beginning. That's why some of the passes look like it didn't have any zip like that. It's still a mental thing because he is knocking off Russ. He didn't have a preseason. So for this, for Kirk Cousins to take what he's done, and he's knocking it off, and the more and more he got better as the game went on. And honestly, us running the ball kept the Eagles and Nick Fangio from trying to have that shell defense. He couldn't go into what he wanted to do as well. So that up-tempo offense that Zach Robinson was producing, that really just, was the whole thing, because the Eagles couldn't do what they wanted to do at all, y'all. We made the adjustments. For me, though, for Zach, I want you to, now that I've seen this, now that I see what it can be, let's go ahead and just continue to get better. I ain't saying I just want to see this all the time, blah, 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 blah. But let's continue to get better within the flow of the offense. You did some things in week 1 that didn't work. You scrapped that. You went with things that did work. Having Kurt under center, doing the play action, running the ball, man. So it's a wonderful thing. I think Zach Robinson did do better this game, and he will continue to get better, because he went up against an old dog last night that's seen everything you can throw at him, and we still was able to come away with the tough victory in enemy territory. So I think everybody is still just getting acclimated. There was no preseason, so we kind of got to take these games with a grain of salt on bad throws, maybe bad placement. But Kurt, that last drive, that is what we paid him for, and
absolutely,
and we needed it. We absolutely needed it.
And to just finish it off, and Berto asked the question, who should get the more credit? I feel like they both should get credit, and the reason why I say that, as I told y'all before the season started, Kirk Cousins was going to be Zach Robinson's eyes on the field, and one reason why he's up in the press box, calling plays from the press box. So you have to trust Kirk Cousins while he's down in the field, and trust what he sees. If he sees something, he tells you to switch from this to that, and puts you in the right direction to call the right plays. You got to listen to him. So I got to give Kirk Cousins and Zach Robinson credit for turning around this game from the first game. Like y'all said, they were knocking off Russ. And they knocked off a little Russ first half this game. But you just seen a totally different Kirk Cousins, under center, quick throws, play action, way he's used to. So that's only going to get better going forward with reps. And he said that in the post game. And, I mimicked that last week. So when reps come, the better you're going to get. And you can see how much this offense is opened up. And you have to congratulate Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier.
Ooh, boy.
Absolutely, man. Told y'all, Eagles fans.
Bijan Robinson averaged 6.9 yards per carry on 14 touches, giving him 97 yards rushing last night. Tyler Algier, 53 yards, and he averaged six yards per carry. What a blessing it is to have these guys in the backfield for these Atlanta Falcons. But much credit has to go to that offensive line, man. That offensive line really, after a shaky week 1 performance, they learned, they played a heavy front four, kind of similar to what Pittsburgh, showed them in that week 1, and Philly a little bit more talented. You rarely heard the name Jordan Davis. You rarely heard the name Jalen Carter. A lot of battles from within, but that stretch zone was killing and gashing this Philadelphia Eagles front line, man. And shout out to the offensive line, man, because they kept Kurt pretty clean the entire game. We gave up 1 sack, which on a stunt, sure. All right, you can't stop everything, but overall, man, Kirk really was allowed to do whatever he wanted in that pocket, because that line kept it clean for him. So recognition definitely has to be given to that Falcons offensive line for
Yeah.
bouncing back, man, in week 2 in hostile grounds. We all know how Philly is. We all know how that environment is, man. But these guys were tone deaf and just, weren't listening to absolutely nothing and just put it all on the line there. But Bijan Robinson, man, averaged 6.9 yards per carry yesterday. It was a battle of who should have been the 8th pick. We saw Jalen Carter and Bijan, and this one definitely going to Bijan, as Bijan was the benefactor in last night's matchup. Was ripping and running all over the field. We didn't use him, leaking out of the backfield as much. I think that could have been it could have been something where we could have challenged that second tier of that Philly defense, especially their linebackers, Zach Bond and company. But nonetheless, man, the linemen were there to neutralize everything. I got to highlight this again, man, but Chris Lindstrom had a phenomenal game, man. Holding Jalen in check for most of the game, really making some key blocks. There was one block that he made on Zach Bond that really catapulted Bijan for a 14-yard gain. So it's just like little in-game battles that result into the overall, right? The success, the victory that we had last night. But, if you guys want to jump in on that and just speak on what the offensive line did, our bookends did phenomenal as well. Bryce Huff, who's that? Got big money to come from the Jets, was neutralized. And, by the way, Devontae Freeman stands. Please cover your ears. Bijan Robinson showed you what a chip block is all about last night, because I think it was him that put him on his ass, and it was amazing to see Kyle Pitts as well, chipping into the blocking scheme of it all. Everybody across the board on that offensive line just put in work, and it showed how important this game was for these Atlanta Falcons, man.
That's how you do a chip block, fellas, and was in stride with it too. He chip blocked them, was in stride. It was a beautiful thing, man. But I want to also highlight something else. I got to give a shout out to the fact that Drake London, having 6 receptions for 54 yards, that game-winning touchdown. But also in that run game, shout out to the offensive line. Shout out to Caleb McGarry, who we didn't hear his name called all night. Shout out to Drew Dahlman, who they was rushing up the middle against him, and he held his own in the run game. He was setting the example and getting to the second level. Man, it was a beautiful offensive line performance. But Drake London, in as a blocker for the run game, he set a lot of great blocks in that game, y'all, and allowed, especially yes, he had the game-winning catch, but it was a lot of times he was sealing off defenders, allowing Bijan to to weave and wobble like he needed it to, man. Drake London, he had a great game overall, and it was great and fitting that he got that game-winning touchdown, because he was blocking all day as a receiver in the run game as well. Definitely wanted to highlight that.
For sure, bro. For sure. Smitty, you got anything to add?
Not really.
Being honest. Go ahead, Brycey.
Man. I also kind of want to take mention of just, with how discombobulated things were last week. Just like I said, just the fact, like I said, across the board, everybody kind of stepped up. I know, like I said, talking about Mooney, people were questioning if he was even a number 2 receiver. And I was like, yes, guys, he's a number 2 receiver. Of course. And I think last night he showed that. I said that he and Kirk, I felt like, had good chemistry with each other through camp and through practice. And I'm glad we were actually able to see it in the game. It just continued to bit off that. Ray McCloud showing that he can be a receiver. I know a lot of people felt like he can't be your wide receiver 3. He's not a good receiver. Listen, at the end of the day, Ray McCloud has gotten multiple catches each game. He's been involved with the offense. So clearly he's taken a step in his development as a wide receiver, especially because they really only use 3 guys for the most part. And just continuing to see that improvement across the board from everybody in that regard. And glad that we were actually also able to see Tyler Algier more tonight, or last night as well. Just because it's going to take a team effort every week. It's going to take everybody. This offense is not, like I said, going to be we're going to force the Drake, force the Pitts. It's whoever got the best matchup, who's ever open, whoever has the whoever can make the play on that particular play will be the guy chosen to make the play on that play. So Just really, like I said, excited about what we saw there and everything like that. I think also seeing this morning, I think Falcons are 7th in pass defense. So
Yeah.
obviously the secondary has continued to do their job. We haven't really heard anything on Mike Hughes. I know that was a concern for a lot of people.
Was for me.
He's held up. AJ bounced back after last week.
Yeah.
He played better.
Yeah,
Obviously,
game.
we know what we expect from the safeties. So overall, I think we're continuing to get better, and we're continuing to just hit our stride as a team.
Yeah, man, definitely.
And shout out to Kirk Cousins, well, man, for not just focusing on one receiver. When you spread the ball out like you're supposed to, the offense is going to run more smoothly, and you saw it last night. Now, one thing that I would like to see them do more of, when you're running the ball like they were running the ball last night, just keep the shit going. When you get inside the 10-yard line, just keep running the damn ball. Don't get cute. Because that pass to Darnell Mooney coming out the backfield, that was an Arthur Smith type play, and we don't need that shit no more.
We don't do that.
So just use common sense and just keep running the football if it's working. Common sense. That's all you need.
Yeah. Keep pounding them, man. Because that's what we was talking about last week. I know Eagles fans jumping all on us, because they were coming in here with Miss Simone, but again, told them last year y'all boys were giving up a lot of yards on the ground and through the air. And I'm just saying the same thing is happening. Y'all have given up back-to-back weeks with over 150 yards. So it's just like I'm seeing the same patterns. And y'all talking about things are going to change. See it, man.
Chris, that's why I said coming into the season. That's why I still said the way last season ended, they still don't trust Nick Sirianni. And I'm going to stick to that.
Yeah,
man. 2-9 in their last 11 games.
Yeah, I don't give a damn about Nick Sirianni. That is the most arrogant coach there is in the NFL. Talk about
man, you seen him out there, right?
In your face, yeah. Especially after that Chauncey Gardner celebration, which he took his helmet off. By the way, he was fucking helmet didn't pop off. He was taking that damn thing off, man.
He was taking it off, man.
And then the ref,
luckily it slipped forward and he grabbed it.
He's surrounded by Eagles, man. She just gonna believe. I'm like, what? And then Ray with the throwback jersey. I like Randall Cunningham and all, but that was just weird to me. I don't know.
Well, he said he cleaned that up. He said he's a Randall Cunningham fan and he grew up an Eagles fan, so he was paying homage. I don't give a. I guess that cleans it. I guess that cleans it up for him. I guess.
Hey, but you gotta think too. It played mind games with them too, though. So it played mind games with them too. So hey, it is what it is.
Absolutely, man. But man. Much praise to go around. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just about to say last thing about Ray. As far as like him being used as a wide receiver 3, how many opportunities did he really get in San Francisco though? That offense was loaded. Where could he fit?
Yeah.
So now he's getting this opportunity. So he just got to make the best of it. And thankfully in the first 2 games, really he has.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Opportunity. That's a good thing to say, man, because we're going to talk about the opportunities this defense has given these Atlanta Falcons in the first 2 weeks. Really holding Pittsburgh last week in check. This game last night really kept the Philly faithful at bay. Saquon, of course, all the analysts were picking Saquon to run all over the Atlanta Falcons. 90 yards rushed. Okay, not too bad. Devontae Smith. 76 yards receiving, kind of kept at bay. So we were able to neutralize these playmakers for the Philadelphia Eagles to a certain extent, right? We didn't hear the name Dallas Goedert, a good tight end in this league.
I was worried about.
I was worried about him too, and especially going up against our linebackers, we'll touch on in a few minutes. But somebody in the chat had mentioned something about in-game adjustments and how this Falcon staff was able to do so. And that's one thing that, really bothered us or hurt us last year, the inability to make these in-game changes. What we saw was a light front and Philly taking advantage of that light front when it was trotted out by this Falcons defense, turned to more of a heavy front and started limiting some of these carries for Saquon Barkley, man. But Matt Judon and company came in. They came to play, man. This Falcons defense, man, we just have to give it a little bit more time to gel. And boy, oh boy, man, this is going to be hell on wheels. It's going to be better than last year's defense. But guys like Justin Simmons are coming in, do their thing. Hell, we even saw Richie Grant make a play last night. He came in for a few minutes, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on? Now we got to talk about we got to switch it up right here, man. We got to talk about these linebackers because there's a big liability there, guys, and we all know kind of where we're going with this one, man. And Troy Anderson, your ass is on the hot seat, my friend. You took some piss poor angles yesterday. Really didn't know what holes to hit at, and yeah, man, some of those gashes by Saquon came right at you, or that Philly offense was coming at you, man. This is going to tell us how much we're going to miss Nate Landman, man, who, we heard the news that he's going to go on the IR for the next 4 weeks. Hopefully, J.D. Bertan can get some snaps. But, fellas, man, linebacker play from last night, man, how would you overall assess it against the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday?
Honestly,
go ahead.
I'm gonna just say this, and Berto was right from the jump. You got to start playing Troy outside. Because inside, it's just like he don't know how to shed blocks. He forgetting how to run downhill. And we all knew coming out of college, he had a problem running downhill anyway. So you're going to have to use that speed in other facets as far as outside. I would love to see Captain America get on the field because, as Berto said before the show started, he see a little Nate Landman in that kid. And the reason why Troy Anderson, I think, can move outside, he's just really not a natural middle linebacker, and you can see it in his play. So now you have to find other ways to get him involved in the game. But they worked out 3 linebackers this past week. One of those guys are going to have to be signed. And Troy Anderson, whether you have to use him in special teams, edge rusher, use him differently. But I feel like Rashaan Evans would be a good candidate to come back to Atlanta and fit into that middle linebacker spot. Because if y'all remember a couple years ago, he had over 130 tackles, 2 sacks, and he could do just about everything. So, so the linebackers played pretty good in certain spots of the game, but Troy Anderson and Caden Ellis had a rough game as well. But
yeah, he did.
He still made plays. But at the same time, you got to have consistency from the guy who's supposed to lead the defense at middle linebacker. So you got to fix that position.
Absolutely. Again, they were looking for the person that they could attack on that defense, and Troy Anderson was indeed that person. A lot of times running right at him. A lot of times even Jalen Hurts running right at him. So they weren't afraid of that middle linebacker position at all. Thought JD was going to get more snaps, but shoot, most of our rookie class, I think our entire rookie class was healthy scratches last night. So it's just, JD was on special teams. But still,
man, it's crazy.
I want to see him get more snaps, because you can't learn on the sideline. You can't learn hiding these guys, man. These guys are going to have to get rotated. But I do understand in the beginning of the season, you want the veterans to get acclimated, especially the new guys, and you want them to lead the charge against these tough games. But like moving forward, we're definitely going to have to use our draft picks, man. We're definitely going to have to use them because we have some things that we need to clean up. They did have 186 rushing yards between Hurts and Saquon, and Jalen Hurts was able to do his thing. And moving forward with a quarterback that can move around in the pocket, you got to clean those up.
The thing with that though, Chris, if their running backs are moving like Fields and Hurts moved the last 2 weeks, that means the secondary is doing their job. So if the secondary is doing their job, that means you got to get home on the pass rush. That means Matthew Judon, Arnold Ebiketie, those guys, they have to step up. So once they get that pass rush going, when that pass rush gets going, man, it's the sky's the limit for this secondary.
Yeah, and Caden Ellis, he had a tough game, but he did give us that pressure when we needed it at the last second to allow Jesse.
Right.
So, I feel like I don't know if Troy Anderson gets there and makes the play. I don't know. I mean, just after the game that he was having, I ain't saying that he's not able to get there ever, but I'm just saying I don't even know just because the game that he was having with his morale.
Fast as he is, Chris, somebody in that coaching staff should figure out a way to use him. It's just that simple, and I'll be honest. If Ryan Wilson was here, he would find a way. I got
a way to use him. Got a way to use him, Smitty. I'm saying? The hot dog stand, I'm saying? In the bins, always need somebody, I'm saying, to rotate. No, I ain't gonna do Troy like that. I'm gonna leave y'all alone.
What's wrong with you?
I'm gonna leave it alone.
Make sure you put him at $2 hot dog stand so he can give me a free hot dog. Because
road that
Yeah,
turnstile, man. Now, all jokes aside, everybody has bad games and everything, man. It's all jokes and love up here, but
and
honestly,
yeah,
we
too. He coming off an injury. I get that, and he's probably trying to get back to the swing like Kirk is. But at the same time, man, you got to put your best foot forward, man. You got to. That's the key position on the field. You calling the defense. We trusting you to lead our defense, and you playing like that. No, give me
yeah.
Rashawn Evans all day, man.
Yeah. Bryson, what you got, brother?
Yeah. I mean, Troy didn't have a best game last night. Obviously, when you had Nate in there was the trust with his way to diagnose and blow up plays. And I think obviously with the full plan, when the entire linebacking core is healthy, you can start using Troy and Nate in different ways, maybe to their strengths, where with Nate out, you have to now use Troy in as a full-on linebacker in that position, especially because they only had 3 active linebackers last night. So it's not like there's a lot of depth there for the next 4 weeks. So like I said, it'll be interesting to see if they do bring someone else in there. But I mean, realistically, right now, I mean, this is what we have, and until we see what they do next, it's not like they can just start moving things around. Maybe coming up, the Chiefs game could be better for Troy. Maybe Philadelphia does have a more power running game. They did put Becton inside. They have a lot of size. I think they have the heaviest offensive line in the league. So in terms of them being able to run football, they should be able to do that. And I think obviously Troy struggled against that size that they had up there. So I think maybe the Chiefs game may be better because you'll probably be like, okay, we need you more in the pass game, especially the way they like to use their running backs and tight ends. So, like I said, Sunday he didn't have a great game. Hopefully he bounces back from that. Obviously he'll have to look at the film. He'll have a tough film session. But they'll look at what they can do better, and hopefully that results in a better performance from him next week because we're going to need him to be better. Same thing for Caden. He didn't have his best game, but he did make a play at the end of the game to help get that turnover to seal the game for the team. So, and like I said, we may see Captain America a little bit as well, just to see. Listen, I support my Georgia State Patrol linebacking core. Okay. So we gotta go out there. We need to look at those players like they are breaking the laws of the road and go after them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for real. And it's all about opportunity though. And Troy has these games with Nate being out to show his worth and take advantage of his opportunities because it's next man up until Nate gets back, and we need to see exactly what you can do and how we can use you because we're going to need you in this season.
100%, man, 100%. But we also have to highlight Drew Talk Sports. What's happening, man? Glad you could join the trip, man. Shout out to Drew Talk Sports, man. But this one guy that we have to highlight on this Falcons defense as well. Birdcage, what's happening? The play of Jesse Bates III, man. If anybody wants to dispute this, Bates is the best safety in the NFL, bar none, man. I'm sorry. Not because he plays for the Atlanta Falcons, but talk about how valuable he was yesterday. Not just getting the game-sealing INT, but, just making that clutch goal line, batted ball down there for Philly as well in the third quarter. Jesse Bates is a do-it-all safety for us, man, and that combination with him and Justin Simmons as time goes on is going to be special and it's something to be reckoned with. But Jesse Bates right now, is he right now the heart and soul of this Falcons defense, folks? Let me know what you guys feel.
It's hard not to go with that because he always makes plays. Last year we seen that he won games by himself for the Atlanta Falcons. Like you just said, just alluded to, he punched the ball out because that was a touchdown. If he doesn't come over there and punch that ball out, Smitty or whatever they call him, so he has 2 touchdowns. So Jesse Bates, he has to be like one of the heart and soul, of the team. Of course, we have Grady, so that's why you kind of can be like, well, he's still Grady, but Jesse Bates, man, he's definitely the ball hawk. He's definitely the leader. He's definitely one of the guys who just like, you need a play to be made. Here I go. So like I enjoy. And Justin Simmons saved a touchdown with a one-handed, pretty much a tackle when he grabbed Covey and brought him on down to the ground. Because if he didn't make that play, Kobe was going right into the end zone. So these
And-
guys are going
and-
to get better, just like Birdo said.
I'll go Jesse Bates definitely, because one thing about Jesse Bates, he makes everybody around him better. And if you watch what he was doing last night in coverage, he was shutting down the middle of the field, and that was helping Judon get home. That was helping them get pressure on Hurts. Now Hurts did break a couple of big runs, but that was mainly because the secondary were doing their job, like I said. So he's definitely the key part of the defense. But again, you still got to have that middle linebacker, man, to control the middle of the field, to control the play calling. And if Bates has to do that shit so well, let it be. Let him do it.
Gotcha.
Nah, for real.
Yeah, man. Like, I think Bates is the heart and soul of the defense. I think, he has established himself as the leader of this defense. When they have the veterans who talk to the media, Bates is one of the main people who will talk to the media. A guy that you can rely on, guy I'm sure the team trusts. Great relationship with the secondary, great chemistry with the secondary as well. And just keeping everybody, on the same page, which is extremely important for this team moving forward. So, Bates has just been an amazing addition. I mean, listen, people when we signed him to that contract, questioned giving him that money.
Absolutely.
And then he came in here and earned every dime of that contract. He has earned every dime, making plays. Because really, man, it's almost like, if you think about it, if when a team has to drive down the field on the Falcons, you're looking at it like we have ball hawk safeties ready to go, and Jesse Bates could be that closer really in the secondary for this team, like he was last night. So I'm very happy with what he has brought to this defense and what they'll continue to grow. Because again, this defense hasn't hit a stride. Remember, Jimmy Lake's in his second game calling the defense, learning how to use his guys, learning how to make everything work. So I mean, for me, when I see that, there's so much. I feel like there's still so much more room for this team to grow, and I think that's the thing that we forget about. For some people, they forget about, because, like I said, we want success now, but don't realize probably in 5 weeks there'll be a different version of this Falcons team.
100%.
Because
we are at this very
they've
moment,
been
and
in jail by then.
for the best. Because, like I said, you get past this 3-game stretch, you get into divisional play. Obviously, those are key games, and then after that, you start the weakest part of your stretch of your schedule.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Indeed, man.
Absolutely right, my brother.
Yeah, we have a quick question here, man. Quick. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, how you? Yeah, man. That is so true. And listen, folks, and we got another tough task Sunday night playing the Chiefs and the refs, as we all know how the refs favor the Chiefs. So buckle up, because there's going to be a lot of punching the air right now on Sunday night, man. Victory Tuesday, and indeed, our brother Big Low Country is in the chat. What is happening?
Sure.
Quick question here by Q Lavender, man. So do you feel like they need to go ahead and get Rook some snaps? He can be dangerous with Grady and Judon. And, so Rook Orho and Brandon Dorlus have both been inactive or healthy scratches the first 2 games of the year. And that could primarily be because of the running style, heavy run teams like, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia have been. Could be something different now week 3 against the Kansas City Chiefs, as they lost their primary runner in Isaiah Pacheco. So who knows? Maybe this would be a game that Rook Oro and Brandon Dorlus are both active for, as we're going to need all the defensive linemen we can to really, Pat Mahomes, get him off of his spot and force him to the mistakes that Cincy was able to do this past Sunday. So, fellas, you feel like this is a good game for both of these guys to be activated? But guys,
this is an excellent game for them to get activated. And I thought about this last night. Maybe they're not playing because maybe they're trying to keep them fresh as possible, so they can blend them in the middle of the season when the older guys are wearing down. Then you bring in the younger guys with the energy that keeps the team flowing in the right direction. So they're doing it. They're doing it exactly the right way. You let the older guys play. They don't get burnt out. But once they get that wear and tear towards the middle of the season, you start mixing in the young guys. And when you do that, man, you keep the team fresh. And I actually love that idea.
Yeah, we definitely need they snaps, man. We definitely gotta integrate them in together, man. We gotta use our draft picks, like we said earlier, and this could be a game to where we could see those guys finally,
Mm,
getting some snaps because you need all hands on deck to pretty much, bring down the standard of the league. Talking about Pat Mahomes.
right.
Yeah. I mean, I think obviously they always say in that situation is who are you deactivating? Because Eddie Goldman started last night, so I guess he's
Yeah,
there. So I
he's
guess
there.
Street. Who else? Who else are you
Yeah, Saquon
deactivating to
Graham.
get them both on the field?
Uh,
There's another
I would
name.
have to say Contavious Street
There's
would
no
probably
play
be the
about
only guy.
Street last
Well, that
Yeah,
probably means only one of them can play if it's only just Street. So that would be
Yeah.
that's the thing. There's so much depth there. Like
Yeah.
it's not like we have a weak D line group and we're not playing them. We have
Right.
players who can play on the D line. But I also understand you want to get them reps, so we'll have to see what that plan is as the
Got
season
to.
goes on. And obviously, if injuries happen, at least we got guys ready to go on that side of the ball. It's not a position of
There you
well,
go.
we don't have anybody else. No, we have depth at that position. So as much as we want the rookies to play, right now this is what they want to go with. We'll see how that
Mhm.
changes and evolves as the season goes on. Obviously, things can change week to week.
Sure.
They
Mhm.
could
I
be
think it
helping
will.
the
I think it
veterans
will.
get
Depending on the
play
opponent.
now and then get rest later, and then we'll see how that ends up going for us at the end of the day. Because like I said, Chiefs game they very well could, but it depends because if you have to also think about it for the Falcons, you're facing this is your third straight mobile quarterback basically you're about to face.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
and that's a battle in of itself because you have to be disciplined when you're rushing them because you don't want to give them lanes, but it's also kind of hard because you're trying to just get back there. And we see how Patrick Mahomes can affect the game passing the ball. We saw how
Mhm.
Jalen Hurts was able to impact the game running the ball. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what they feel like is best in that situation and what they need to do to be able to get away with it.
You know what, fellas? I'm sitting here thinking about it, and just because Bryce, what you just highlighted about the mobile quarterbacks our first couple of weeks, I'm sitting here and I'm like, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for how the schedule is, playing out for us, so we can get all this experience with these different quarterbacks now, and like it can move forward throughout the season. So we can get better. We can recognize some things and be like, oh, okay, we seen that in week 1, we seen that in week 2, and it can be able to just click a little bit faster, and we do have more success going on throughout the season, and hopefully a deep playoff run. So I'm glad that this experience thing is happening. I'm glad that the Falcons are using their veterans for these tough first games, and letting everybody get acclimated together like that. And we could see our rookies, depending on the opponent, strength of schedule, everything like that. If we have a lesser game, we probably could see some of those rookies, getting more snaps and giving our
And
veterans some
and,
rest.
another thing, if you look at the schedule, it lines up perfect because if you get those younger guys into the rotation by the middle of the season, towards the back end on some of those games that we should win, Grady could get some rest. Onyemata could get some rest. So that
Mhm.
could get them a good little boost going into the playoffs if they're well rested on the back end of the schedule. So you have to think about things like that.
Mm.
That's
Mm.
true.
I
Very
hate
true.
to switch up dials, but it's something that we have to highlight real quick and touch on quick. And this is all thanks to Archangel, man, our brother, man. Appreciate you joining the stream, man. He says Kirk not even fully himself. He should be getting better, right? And
Right.
this I want to talk a little bit more upon because, man, dry snitching is a hell of a thing, man. And when you are either A, behind closed doors or B, on a phone call with a person, the last thing you want to
Yeah.
do is say, hey, such and such told me this, that, and the third, or whatever the case may be. And what I'm referring to is
Mm-hmm.
the whole concussion Aikman conversation he had with Kirk Cousins, where he's saying that
Yeah,
Kirk
he done
Cousins,
told. Yeah.
he's saying that Kirk Cousins revealed to him that he's not fully healthy, which was insane to even say. It's like, how are you going to go ahead and take the if this man is confiding in you and something personal like that? Why the fuck are you going to go on national TV for clout and say, "Oh, by the way, Kirk said that he's not 100% healthy"? Because I'll tell
You
you,
just
if,
said it,
Right.
Clout.
hold
Talking
on,
about
if
something.
the Falcons would have lost last night, you know that comment right there would have been highlighted by 1,000, man. That would have been under the microscope. That would have been, frontline news in the NFL
Exactly.
world. But Kirk definitely proved otherwise in the fourth quarter, even in the third quarter, playing exceptional football. But fellas, to that, man, what do you guys feel about that gesture by Troy Aikman? Is that something that he should have just kept private between them two? Because at the end of the day, you're just having a conversation. Two guys having a conversation, man.
That's why I can't stand his overrated ass.
Man.
Things like that, man. You got to take that to your grave, man.
True,
man. When you having a conversation like that, that has to do with someone's well-being, we don't know what that he could get fined by the NFL just by you running your mouth. Because we talked about the Bijan Robinson thing last year with the headache. They ended up getting in trouble for that. They ended up getting fined. So what did they get fined over? Something that you said. So again, man, if I'm any NFL player after that last night, I wouldn't tell Troy Aikman what kind of food I ordered last night.
I'm talking about not a doggone thing. I don't want to tell Troy what kind of dog I'm fit to purchase. Nothing, man, because that don't even make any sense. Oh, he's not 100% healthy. But he's 100% in the pocket. Bro, oh God, just shut. That's why the best thing you did was hand the football off. Right there. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah,
come on.
It was like I said, very interesting comments today before the game. I don't know, maybe because he knew the conversation around Kirk the entire week was, is he healthy? And he said, let me add to the conversation too. Let me give you insight into what he told me. And, and obviously hearing that, it's just like, oh, brother, it's like Berto said, if the Falcons would have lost or Kirk,
that would have been highlighted. Oh, yeah.
Bro,
that conversation would have rose and continued.
Caught like Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Kirk wasn't even healthy anyway. Troy Aikman said it.
Exactly. So it's one of those things, man, where you just kind of like, oh, brother, that information does not need to be out there, Listen, we all can make our assumptions if Kurt's healthy or not. We rove our assumptions rather than being leaked by someone else. And now people are like,
it has nothing to do with the team.
Exactly.
That's exactly why Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin put him in the Hall of Fame, because he ain't shit. Yeah, I said it.
Jeez.
But
man, nonetheless, man, a very important win for these Atlanta Falcons last night, man. Going now into another tough stretch, man. We have Kansas City coming up, and then we have division games. We have the New Orleans Saints. Then we're back on the road to Tampa Bay, and before we close out we begin the month of October with the Carolina Panthers. So we're seeing some division games, man. But this game here, really a morale booster for these Atlanta Falcons going forward. And let's highlight a little bit if we can. Smitty, you go with this? Let's highlight a little lemon pepper, Smitty. You know it. Let's highlight this a little bit, man.
Nicknames, it ain't funny.
You got TMZ. I don't know where the fuck that came from, but TMZ it is. We're going
that came from Christy Lewis. That came from Christy Lewis. Shout out to Christy Lewis, man. One of our biggest followers, man.
Yeah,
but
go ahead,
let's go a little bit into Sunday, man. I know we're gonna have a preview show coming up tomorrow night, so man, we highly suggest you guys come through, man. Any one of our platforms, 95 North Falcons Talk Show, Smitty Sports Machine, or Chris Tipmore at A1 Forever Sports. We'll be previewing the Kansas City Chiefs game on Sunday night. But let's tap into that game right quick, man, because definitely beating the Philadelphia Eagles in the fashion that we did on the road is no easy task. The Falcons were able to do it. But now we go back home with all this momentum, going up against the defending Super Bowl champions on Sunday night. We get back-to-back primetime games, which is awesome. But big morale victory last night going into Sunday. We're playing a Chiefs team that doesn't have a full deck, man. They're missing Isaiah Pacheco, their main running cog. McCole Hardman, one of their speedsters, is out for the year. So really, Andy is working with replacements at certain positions. And seeing how Cincinnati was able to have success against that Steve Spagnuolo defense, could we see some of the similar things going into Sunday night? One thing to highlight, and which I've been praying and wishing we get a breakout game from it, and that's Kyle Pitts. God damn it, we saw Mike Gesicki. Yes, Mike Gesicki, former I think first round pick of the Miami Dolphins, have hella success against the Kansas City Chiefs. There's a formula right there. Attacking Nick Bolton and Leo Chanel, the linebackers for the Kansas City Chiefs, has to be primary number one, man. So what do you guys? So how you guys going into this matchup? What are you guys feeling for Sunday night, man? Is this a winnable game for the Atlanta Falcons in Week 3? I'll throw it to you, Bryce. Say, man.
Yeah, go ahead, Bryce. Yeah, man. I mean, every game is a winnable game. I mean, so there's if they play the way they need to play, there's definitely a chance for them to win this game. I mean, obviously we know what the challenge is coming in. Chiefs we have the best team in the league. You know, they even the Bengals played a really good game and still lost.
Sure did.
I mean, it's just really hard to beat a team like that, but it's not impossible. So the Falcons are going to get it done. Obviously, they're going to have to be able to create pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Be disciplined because again, he can run. He'll frustrate you. Get out of stuff. Make plays. Off platform throws. And just be ready for anything else they throw at you. Andy Reid's going to come in there with some type of exotic playbook, whatever. Trying to get over something on the defense. So. I mean, and this game really could come down to the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to need Kirk to basically be like he was in that fourth quarter, but for 4 quarters.
Yeah.
And because these types of games, usually when you play Patrick Mahomes, it's usually a quarterback duel. You have to outduel him. And so in that situation, that means Kirk's going to have to really have a really good game. I said after the first half last night, I said this is going to come down to the quarterbacks. Because both teams are able to run the football. Both teams pretty much from other elements of the game are playing around the same. It's a matter about who quarterback plays better. And I think that's what's going to come down to against Patrick Mahomes. Because usually you have to outplay him, and then you have to be able to hopefully get key opportunistic plays to be able to beat the Chiefs. And if they could do that, that would be obviously a huge win for this team. Everybody would feel great after beating them, and just be able to go out there and, like I said, be able to play. And like I said, winning that game feels better. Like the fact they got to win in this 3 games during this stretch is important.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll just give you momentum going into your divisional games because the Falcons next week start 3 straight home games. So being able to defend your home field will be extremely important as well. And like I said, we know the challenge that's coming up. We understand what we're doing. So they just got to go out there, play their game. Kirk continues to play well, be able to still run the football because that's still the core of this team. At the end of the day, is a running football team, and then be able to make plays outside of that.
Hey man, hey, you absolutely right. Another thing you have to do, you have to be able to just to run the ball, just simply like how you did against in the first 2 weeks. You have to run the ball. It's going to be important. You have those linebackers. You have 2 guys who are very capable of running the ball. Controlling the tempo, keeping this defense off track and everything, and you have to do that. You also have to, like Bryce just said, you got to outduel Mahomes. But most importantly, I think you have to play mistake-free football like you did in this game. You can't have any turnovers and give the Kansas City extra opportunities. Mahomes don't need no extra opportunities. He can do well enough for what he has. So something that we're going to have to do, run the ball, keep him on the sideline. Another thing we have to do, the morale has to be up. So Falcon fans, you got tickets, you need to handle all your business this week because we're going to need you on Sunday Night Football to help this team, catapult themselves against a team that is very hard to beat, whether they're home or away. So, and again, just like Mike Gesicki had a great game, and he is nothing like Kyle Pitts. I'm sorry, he's not.
Right.
As far as athletic ability, catching ability, you have to exploit those linebackers. That's a great point by Berto, and you have to definitely do that, man. And that secondary is a little shaky too outside of McDuffie. So you're going to have to move guys around. You're going to have to spread the ball around just like you did in this game. Don't home in on one person. I believe we can have a recipe to for success. And honestly, it's going to be tough as hell. This game was tough. This actual game, even though we're home, is going to be tougher. Because these guys, they can make mistakes all night long and still find ways to win. So you just got to give yourself the best chance. You got to give yourself the best chance.
But I did my 3 key to victory, and it'll be out shortly after we do this live, probably about an hour or so. But I'm gonna give y'all one of my keys, and y'all hit on the nail on the head. with Patrick Mahomes. And one thing about Patrick Mahomes, not only you have to outdo him, you have to outthink him. So what I mean by that, you got to get that pass rush going, and that pass rush has to be key this game. Just like with Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields, you got to keep him in the pocket and force him to beat you with his arm. And you don't want Patrick Mahomes to do that. But at the same time, if he gets outside the pocket, make throws on the run, he's even more dangerous. So you have to outthink him, and to do that also, you got to put Jesse Bates or Justin Simmons in the box to guard Travis Kelce, because Travis Kelce is going to be the key to this game. If you can shut Travis Kelce down, you have a great chance to win this game, because one, Marquise Brown is out for the season. Two, Pacheco is probably gone for the season as well. So that's two major weapons that he don't have, but he still has Travis Kelce. If they get to that red zone, Travis Kelce is definitely going to be his target. So take Travis Kelce out the game the best way you can. And that's one of my keys to victory. But that's all I'm going to say. Y'all catch the other two keys right after this video. I'm sorry.
Don't allow those big chunk plays too. Like, they got that speed with Word. They're gonna find creative ways to use him because they don't have Pacheco. So they're gonna and I feel like they're gonna use him to try to be an extension of the run game because they don't have Pacheco, and they're gonna definitely use their chain mover and Rashid Rice. So you got to be you can't forget about anybody on this offense. They're gonna use the torch. They're gonna use everybody that they have. We're gonna see guys that we didn't even expect to even try to make plays that they're going to have some plays for, like a Juju Smith-Schuster. They got him still over there too. So regardless, they're going to have
talking ass, man. He ain't a factor.
I understand, but that's still Andy Reid over there. I'm respecting.
That's true. No, you're right. Excuse me. You're right.
But yeah, no, seriously though, I'm respecting the coach, and I already know that he's going to use his weapons. So we have to be disciplined, I believe, more than anything, because going back to a point that Bryce said, that they're going to have all different kind of tricky plays. They're going to throw the bus at you. But you just have to be disciplined more than anything, because shoot, man, that's the champs, man. That's the champs.
Yeah.
And I will say this too. Last thing about it. You have to get going a lot sooner, your offense. You have to punch it in for 6 and not 3, because
can you start telling my video?
Thank you. Eric Parker last night. Eric Parker came on the stream last night, and we was talking about it. We should have beat Philly by more than what we beat them by. We
left some points out there. That's a fact.
Right, we definitely left points out there, and we have to get started faster, and we also have to put up 6 and not 3, especially against Kansas City. You got to put up 6. So that's another thing I want to see as well, man. Us just getting into our offense a little bit faster. Hopefully that last game winning drive is what we'll see going forward. And we'll eat. Yeah, I know Taylor Swift will be in the building. I tried my best.
A little chicken cutlet built ass is going to be in the bins, man.
All good. You know what? I want everybody to be in the building. I want it all to happen, because at the end of the day, if we do our job,
add some extra dipping sauce.
Bro, as long as we give ourselves an opportunity, Falcons fans, don't play mistake-free football, and don't mess this up, y'all. For real, we can win this on Sunday night. We can.
Yeah,
Berto, you going to hell on a first-class ticket for that?
Oops.
Hey, man.
Right here, we got yes, sir. Shout out Uncle Steve, man. Shout out Uncle Steve. I text Uncle Steve this morning. I said, you know what? You deserve extra syrup on your pancakes this morning, sir, because you're the reason why the Falcons won. He was at the game. Glad these guys were able to witness that comeback from behind victory, man. So shout out Uncle Steve's Lounge on YouTube.
Hey, I got to say this, though, man.
Man. Go ahead, bro.
Unc could have saved me a seat on the private plane, on the private jet, man. I'm just saying. I could.
He got it.
Yeah, he got it. He could have said
he goes out to say, he says, mission accomplished. I took a pint of butter pecan and some tip attitude, and we shut the fans up, man. See y'all tonight in the lounge. Yes. What time? I think Unc's coming on around 6 or 7 o'clock tonight, right?
6 or 7,
6 or 7 o'clock at night, man. Make sure you show on some love.
And you know Uncle Steve gonna have something nice, you know what I'm saying? The playlist is gonna be very nice tonight. So I can't wait to see what Uncle Steve got up his sleeve, some jams for tonight's show, man, after this Falcon win on this victory.
I hope we got some meat meal since we beat the brakes off them. So we got to throw some meat meal in there.
Jay says, I'm going off today, brother. Sometimes you gotta have fun, man. Sometimes you just gotta, man, come out your character a bit. But nonetheless, man, it was a very thrilling and exciting victory. 1 for the city, for the team, 3 for morale, man. So I'm glad. Oh God, I love Desmond. Lord have mercy. I thought I'd never hear that name again, but apparently it's still relevant, man. But nonetheless, man, Falcons steal a victory last night, 22-21 in Philadelphia. Any last thoughts before we get out of here, guys, man? Brycey, anything you got to say? Something that we may have missed that you want to highlight right quick before we take off?
No, not really. I think we touched on a lot of things. I think we touched on a lot of games. I mean, I guess the only thing really is just hoping Judon continues his consecutive sacks a game streak.
Yeah.
Getting a sack in every game he plays in. So continues to do that. I think we can at least say 1 sack on Sunday.
I hope so, man. I hope so. Oh, yep. Twisted going live tonight. Twisted, let the folks know what time you're going live, man. Hopefully we get them folks to go over to you and get them subscriptions up and those views up as well, man. Another thing that I think we missed on, the play action game is alive in full effect in Atlanta as well. For those that have been wondering where that game is, it's alive and well. Wasn't really brought out last week, but it was in full effect last night. Good to see, Kirk Cousins moving around in the play action and getting some yards. He hit Drake London. He hit Kyle Pitts on one, hit Darnell Mooney, of course. But overall, good to see. But Smitty, man, anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Nah, man, I just want y'all to see that. Look at the bottom of the screen right there. Make sure y'all be there tonight at 7 o'clock. For the NFC South Roundtable, man. We got shit TJ ass up this week. Cause he was talking major junk the other day because the Saints won. So I want to see y'all tonight. NFC South Roundtable on YouTube. Check it out live. 7 o'clock. And shout out to Archangel, man. Archangel got my back every single Tuesday. So
yes, he does.
A page out of Archangel's book, and y'all be there at 7 o'clock because we're gonna have some fun. And again, tomorrow night, catch us at 8 on the 95 North Sports Machine, because we got some things we got to talk about with this Chiefs game. But again, y'all can catch my 3 keys to victory. It'll be out probably in about 2:30 or so, because trust me, y'all gonna want to get those 3 keys to victory.
Not the 3 keys to victory.
Chris, anything you want to throw in before we head out?
Hey, man, again, Falcon fans, we had a long week prior to this game. A lot of ish talking, a lot of questioning, a lot of dissension within the fan base, honestly. Enjoy this win, man. Enjoy it. We deserved it. We went out there to Philly, hard-fought win, got it. You know what I'm saying? Let's say, enjoy the day as well, because tomorrow we got to get back to work. We got the champs coming in on Sunday. So, enjoy the win. But who the fuck is next?
That's the mentality, baby. That's the mentality.
It is 3 wings to victory. Yeah, the 3 wings to victory. That's what you call it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Hey, there you go. I like
it, man.
3 wings,
man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But, man, that's going to do it for the show, man. We appreciate everybody that came through, folks watching on Twitter, folks watching now on the streams on our individual platforms.
We got up to the big 3 today.
Huh?
We got up to the big 300 today, so shout out to y'all.
Hey.
Man, a much-needed victory for these Atlanta Falcons, man. Now the time, turn the page and head back home, focus on the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll see what happens, man. And until then, join us tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Bro Talk will be with us. You'll see myself, Smitty, and Chris alongside Bro Talk to preview these Kansas City Chiefs on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. New time, prime time, that is, 8 o'clock. But until then, I'm your boy Berto, host of the 95 North Falcons Talk Show. and your exclusive at Bleacher Report content creator for these very same Atlanta Falcons. And if you want some raw emotion, go tune in to that live that I did last night on Bleacher Report, man. I was damn near crying, but I'll leave it there, man. An emotional win nonetheless for these Atlanta Falcons. But we will see you tomorrow night. Please go support all the content creators that are on this evening. Please go and support Smitty on the round table tonight at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
There will be some fireworks this evening. But until then, we will see you back tomorrow night at 8. Peace.